Good evening. A wedding, a celebration, music and joy. These are the building blocks of human civilization. The moments that bind communities, that celebrate life and honor traditions passed down through millennia. But in Rohtahat district of Nepal, these simple joys turned into violence. A wedding procession, a Hindu wedding procession was attacked. Why? Because they dared to play music near a mosque. Let that sink in. A wedding procession celebrating the union of two people was met with stones and bricks. The violence was so severe that Nepal had to deploy over 250 security personnel, including the police, the armed forces and even the army. This wasn't a border skirmish, this wasn't a territorial dispute. This was a wedding procession that triggered communal clashes. And tonight we are going to unpack what happened in Rohtahat and why it matters and what this incident reveals about a disturbing pattern of intolerance. We'll also examine the rich civilizational heritage of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, a tradition that has always celebrated diversity and life itself. Because this isn't about one incident in Nepal, it is about a civilization under siege. Let me take you through the timeline. February 19, 2026, Sabgadha village, Gaur municipality, Rohtahat district. A Hindu wedding procession winds through the streets. There's music, traditional music, the kind you hear at weddings across South Asia. It is loud, it's joyous, it's celebratory. The procession passes near a local mosque where evening prayers are taking place. And that's when the objections begin. Members of the Muslim community come out of the mosques. They claim the music is disturbing their prayers. A verbal argument breaks out. But it doesn't end there. Some individuals assaulted members of the team. The situation escalates quickly. By Friday morning, just hours later, the dispute has reignited. Stones are being pelted, bricks are being hurled. The village descends into chaos. According to Chief District Officer Dinesh Sagar Bhusal, the situation became so violent that authorities had no choice but to deploy a massive security forces. Over 250 personnel, dozens of rounds of tear gas shells were fired to disperse the clashing groups. Bhusal stated that it is unfortunate that such incidents disrupt social harmony. The situation is under control and we are facilitating dialogues between the two communities. Unfortunate? Yes. Surprising? No. Because this is not the first time, and unless we address the root causes, it won't be the last. What happened in Rohtahat is part of a disturbing pattern that stretches across South Asia and even further back into colonial history. Let me show you the data. In Nepal alone, October 2025, Durga Puja deity immersion processions in Janakpur Dham and Banke district turned violent. Clashes erupted near mosques. February 2024, a clash broke out in Ishnath municipality during a religious procession, spilling over into neighboring wards. 2020, a violent clash erupted in Sarlahi district when a Hindu procession carrying an idol of Vishwakarma passed through the Muslim community. But here's what is truly alarming. This pattern has historical roots. Researchers have documented what they call music-before-Mosque violence. The Music-Before-Mosque, the MBM conflict, refers to a specific type of communal tension in South Asia that involves Hindu processions playing music while passing by Islamic places of worship, particularly during prayer times. What is Music-Before-Mosque? During the 19th and the early 20th centuries in British India, this became a flashpoint for religious riots. The core of the issue was a clash of rights. The Hindu perspective, the right to carry out traditional religious processions through public streets and with music and fanfare. The Muslim perspective, viewing loud music outside a mosque as a deliberate desecration or provocation. As noted in the UCLA Ethnomusicology Review and other scholarly work, such as those by historians Sarvepalli Gopal or Peter van der Veer, this wasn't just about noise. This was about territorial sovereignty. Now, let me explain something that is often missing from these conversations: the role of music and sound in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. In the Hindu worldview, sound is not noise, sound is sacred, sound is creation itself. The Vedas, the oldest sacred texts of Hindu civilization dating back thousands of years, teach that the universe was created through sound. Om, the primordial sound, is believed to be the vibration from which all existence emerged, and this is today even validated by modern science. This is not mythology, this is the foundational philosophy of one of the world's oldest living civilization. Wedding processions in Hindu tradition are accomplished by shehnai, dol, nagara, musical instruments that have been part of marriage ceremonies for millennia. The sound is meant to announce the sacred union to the community, invoke divine blessings through vibration and rhythm, create an atmosphere of celebration that honors life itself. Music in Hindu weddings is not just entertainment. It is a spiritual act. It is a form of Naad Yoga, the yoga of sound, which connects the human soul to the divine. So when a wedding procession plays music, they are not being disruptive, they are not being disrespectful. They are practicing a 16,500-year-old tradition that celebrates life, joy, and unity. But here's the tragedy. This sacred tradition is now being criminalized. It is being framed as noise pollution. It is being used as a pretext for violence. And that brings us to a fundamental question about religious coexistence. Let us talk about double standards. Hindu festivals, Durga Puja, Ganesh Chaturthi, Diwali, weddings are increasingly facing restrictions in South India. But let me ask you this. When the same scrutiny for loudspeakers, where is the same scrutiny for loudspeakers on mosques? 5 times a day, the azan is broadcast at high decibels across neighborhoods, including Hindu majority areas, and that is fine. That is protected as religious freedom. And I'm not arguing against the azan here. If Muslims have the right to practice their faith, why don't Hindus? If the call to prayer can echo through neighborhoods at dawn, why can't a wedding procession play music during daylight hours? In Nepal, where 81.19% of the population is Hindu, according to the 2021 census, Hindu communities are being told to silence their celebrations. It is a civilization that has never waged a religious war. It has never sent missionaries to convert others. It has never declared that it is the only way. Hindu philosophy has given the world the concept of zero. Advanced astronomy calculated the Earth's circumference in 499 CE. The principles of yoga and meditation, the philosophical systems of Advaita, Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita, all coexisting peacefully. These contributions were made by a civilization that believed in Vasudevam Kutumbakam. The world is one family. And yet, this same civilization is being told to silence its celebrations. In fact, it is being forced to silence its celebrations, to apologize for its traditions, to suppress its joy. That is not tolerance, that is erasure. Still, amid this darkness, there are beacons of light. And let me tell you about the work being done by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, and the United States of KAILASA. KAILASA was established as a revival of the ancient enlightened Hindu civilizational nation by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam. It operates in 150 countries through a network of spiritual embassies, temples, humanitarian centers, and at its core philosophy is that the world desperately needs today is ahimsa paramo dharmaha. Non-violence is the ultimate cosmic law. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, teaches that true religious freedom is not about one community silencing another. It is about recognizing the divinity in all beings. It is about creating spaces where every tradition can flourish, not at the expense of others, but in harmony with them. And this is the model of responsible democracy that KAILASA advocates, a system based on consciousness, not coercion. So what is the solution? We need to stop normalizing intolerance. We need global accountability, and KAILASA is doing the work of documenting persecution and advocating at international forums. The UN, the international community and civil society must listen and act. And finally, and this is crucial, we must protect religious minorities. Hindus in Nepal, where Hindus are 81% of the population, but they are still treated as minorities. Even in India, they should not have to fear to celebrate their own traditions. And in other parts of South Asia, where Hindus are minorities, their safety must be guaranteed. Religious freedom is not negotiable. It is a fundamental human right. What happened in Rohtak is a symptom of a larger disease, the erosion of civilizational tolerance. For thousands of years, Sanatana Hindu Dharma has taught the world that life is meant to be celebrated. Tonight, I want you to remember this. When a wedding procession is silenced, it is not just music that is being silenced, that is being suppressed. It is joy. It is tradition, it is civilization itself. And we cannot and we must not let this happen. This is not about Hindu versus Muslim. This is about civilization versus intolerance. That is all for tonight, and thank you for watching.